Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by the guests and hosts of this show are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the company or the show itself.
Good day, Explora bookworms. Welcome back to Explora Talks. Here at Explora Talks, we dive deep into books and the amazing authors behind them. My name is Mackie, your host for today's episode, and I am thrilled to share another inspiring story with you. Here at Explora Books, we're passionate about spreading powerful messages across the globe. From publishing to marketing, our mission is to make stories available to readers everywhere. And today we're doing just that once again on Explora Talks. For this episode, I am excited to welcome an author whose work dives into survival, truth, and transformational journey of midlife renewal. Today, we get a chance to chat with the author of the book, Something's Going On Here. This book has 3 parts: The Beginning of the End, Book 1, A Farewell to Harm, Book 2, Between Tides and Truth, Book 3. Welcome to Explora Talks, Dr. Ruth Cherry.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here with you.
Hello, Dr. Cherry. Is it okay if I call you Dr. Cherry or Ruth?
Please call me Ruth.
Hi, Ruth. Before anything else, and before I will be diving to Dr. Cherry's book, for those who want a sneak peek into the story, we also have a book trailer for Dr. Ruth Cherry's Trilogy that you can check it out.
There's a new path ahead of me. I moved here 2 months ago, but I don't get this place. There's a mystery I have to solve. I need to find out why these are happening. I'm running against an unknown enemy.
Something's Going On Here by Dr. Ruth Cherry. Visit ruthcherryphd.com.
So, how are you feeling today?
I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I'm open. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm glad to be with you.
I am excited to talk about you because I have been in this journey of, I wouldn't say, probably all of us are in the healing process. I think it's a lifelong journey where we get to know ourselves. And so I am thrilled to know about you, to know about this book. So, Dr. Cherry, you are a clinical psychologist, and I believe you just don't study the mind, but you also explore the soul. And this is what I love about you. And this is what I am so thrilled about. In fact, in your past practices, you blend psychology with spirituality to guide people through healing and transformation, which also shows in your writing in this book that we will be talking about. You're turning mystery and suspense into journeys of truth, survival, and renewal. So I would like to ask, as a clinical psychologist or used to practice, how did your background shape the way you wrote the main character story, Nick's inner struggles and his search for truth?
That's a major question. Thank you for that. The thing that I learned in being a clinical psychologist, I received my doctorate in 76. I practiced individual therapy for more than 45 years. Clinical therapy and healing isn't something that you do off the top of your head. It's there's an intellectual component to it. Absolutely. I learned a lot in school, but it has to do with being, with who I am, with consciousness, with the way I go through life, because you don't learn what to say to clients and you say the right thing and then they go, oh, I got it. And then they heal that way. That's not what healing is. Healing is from going to the deepest, deepest, deepest place inside ourselves and practicing surrender. And then we pay attention, and then we see how life responds to us and how other people respond to us. But we're anchored in our own center, our own truth, our own wisdom, which is not something we can access with our minds. It's not an intellectual process. It's a being process, a consciousness process. So midlife is a really exciting time because we can go deeper and deeper and deeper inside ourselves than we have ever been before. You can, wisdom is not knowledge. We get knowledge when we go to school. We get wisdom when we pay attention to our life experience. And so in midlife, we are challenged. Midlife is when life says to us, okay, all those things that didn't quite get healed, we're going to look at them now. And we can say, oh, no. Or we can say, yes. And we hesitate because it's scary, but we hesitate. But in midlife, life offers us partnership. So we practice partnership with life in midlife. And one of the things that happened to me in midlife was that I met a woman who's a realtor in Los Osos. And so I ended up moving from San Diego to San Luis Obispo, where I live now. And this was it was just a chance meeting. So she happens to be in real life the person who's related to Nick, the person that I did the book. Okay, we're going to edit this out.
Sure.
I wrote the book based on my experience knowing this realtor. So when I'm writing fiction and writing about Nick, okay, we're going to edit this out too. I've written self-help books, but in the evening, when I don't have to pay attention to anybody, any clients, any paperwork that has to be done, I play. And so writing fiction is play for me. I sit at the computer, I see what comes up, and so I write this, and then the next night I write a little bit more. And I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know where it's going, and I don't know what it's about, because I'm just playing, and it doesn't matter. This is just for myself. So I started this book about Nick moving to Los Osos, and wrote about being there because that was my experience at the time. I had just moved to this area, getting to know Los Osos, and just seeing, just having fun, just seeing. So Nick is in midlife. When we move, when we have adventures, when we take chances that we haven't taken before, and all of his own personal wounds come up as he's getting to know this area of Los Osos, getting to know himself, moving to a place where nobody knows him. So he doesn't have a past. He doesn't have a past he has to be responsible to. He just looks at the unhealed wounds that come up from inside himself as he just goes through life in this new environment. And he has experiences. And really, don't we all do that? Don't we all do that at some point in our lives? We stop and we say, I've accomplished my goals, but there's something else. There's something more that I want, There's always something more that we can't control. you get to a point in your life where you want some opportunity, you want some challenges, and you don't know what you don't know what you want. You just know that this can't be it. There's got to be more. And so we say, okay, let's see what's going to happen. And that's how it starts out for Nick too. For me and for all of us really, when we get to that point in life where we've done everything we can do, and then we say, okay, show me. And we get very passive and very attentive. And that's when the magic starts. And that's what interests me, the magic at that point.
That's it's very intriguing for me because the way you share it is already relatable to me and much more to the experiences of your audience and your readers. I feel like this book surrounds so much into the mindfulness of where we are in the present and slowly unfolding what's happening. And that's so magical for me. Like I have read a couple of self books. Nothing that I have read about something like this. I don't even think that this is a self book. This is more of a leisure book that you could actually realize of where you are and learn something from it. And that's what is so amazing. So I am excited for this. Now that you mentioned about the character of Nick, I'm curious, what made you choose a retired English professor to be caught up on this such intense story, sort of danger and mystery. Like, I just wanted to know why an English professor, probably not a superhero or like a scavenger, perhaps.
No, he's not a superhero. He's a person. He's a person. He's like anybody. I think the heroes in our lives are the people who are, we're all dealt the hand we're dealt. The heroes are the ones who step up and say yes. They're not, they may be afraid, but they say, I'm afraid and yes, I'm going to trust life. I'm going to let life show me. Because after we've done everything we can do, we have our degrees, we've retired, we've done what we can do, life doesn't end. Life doesn't end. That's when we stop. I think that's when life begins. That's when you stop and you say, okay, life, you show me. I've done all I can do. You show me. Is there anything else? Because what I've always learned is you get to 65, you have your degrees on the wall, you have your money in the bank, and that's it. I guess I don't know, when you watch television, you put in your time until you die. That's not it at all. I'm sorry about this.
This is Ruth Cherry at the
Just a
top.
minute.
Your name and your message. If you want me to call you back, this is your phone number.
There's some things I don't know how to do with technology, so I think that I'm all set up and that catches up to me. I met Antoinette. She's a realtor in Los Osos. She had a cousin named Mike. I called him Nick in the book, but named Mike. And at her encouragement, he moved out here. So I used that as a starting point for my book. At some point in our lives, when we've done all we can do, but we're still alive and we're still alert and we're still wanting more, we say to life, okay, you show me. Now, we don't say it in those words, but we
Right.
sit back and we say, I'm not going to be so structured, because there's some point you don't have any more goals. You've met all your goals. So what are you going to do now? You say, I'm still alert. I'm still alive. I'm still available for adventure. Show me. And we practice surrender. And so for me, meditation is very, very important. That was one of the things I learned in graduate school in my 20s, but you don't really get it till your 40s, and by the time you're in your 40s, you need to be meditating every day. I needed to be meditating every day, and I was. And when I would do my meditations, every day, every day, every day, I was being shown doors were opening. I was being seen possibilities. I would get, not, I won't say messages, but I would get intuitions. I learned to trust my intuition, and it would pull me in one direction, and words started coming that would then turn into books. Um, I have never decided to write a book. I have 9 books. I have never decided to write a book or made that a goal or worked at it. They just came. When I'm practicing presence, when I'm meditating, when I'm being still, when I'm with myself, and I just write down what I hear, And after about an hour, that goes, and I put my feet up and do something else. But I love that magic. I love that the doors open. When we think there aren't any more doors, when we've accomplished everything we can, there are more doors. So we go inside, go inside. I'm going to talk about I. We can all do this. I go inside to that deepest place in me, and I'm still, and I just watch, and I'm just receptive. I'm passive and I'm receptive, and guidance comes to me. And I think that's so magic, different for every one of us in the context of our own lives, but magic when we're going to a deeper level of reality and we're saying, yes, I'm available. And you jump off the edge and you don't know what's going to happen. But that's pretty fun at that point.
The book sounds really fun and inspiring. Yes, go ahead.
And I think we all get to that point in a different way. Um, it's magic, and that's what's compelling for me. There's magic. It's not like anything is over. It's like things are just starting, but we're tuning into a deeper level of wisdom than we've ever known before, and we're trusting it. We don't know where it's leading, but we say yes because we're alive. We're alive, and it's exciting, and it's opening, and it's passionate. I love that word. It's passionate, and this is what passion is in midlife and beyond. When you say, I don't know what's coming, but I know I have to follow that, or else I won't really be alive. I won't really be me. And we say yes, and we're scared and we're trembling, and we say yes, and every day we say yes. And then we see what's happening, and it's totally unpredictable and completely fun. So when I'm writing these 3 books, I haven't written fiction. I wrote self-help, which was an extension in itself because I'm used to doing therapy and working with clients and then writing books. But self-help is books are another part of self-help. So this sort of goes along with my profession. But writing fiction is like, what's this about? This was totally different. So I would go in the evening, I'm finished with all the things I have to do, and sit at the computer and just start typing the words that I've heard in my head. I didn't know they were going to lead to anything. In fact, I was surprised when a whole book developed because I would only be sitting there for an hour, and then I would go do something else. But it was my way of playing. So something's going on here. 1 and 2 and 3 have come out of playing, just saying, okay, I'll show up, I'll see what happens. And since there's no goal, I can't do anything wrong because I'm just doing it for me. I'm just playing for me.
Right,
And
right.
this is what it turns into. And it's just fun. It's crazy and it's fun and it's strange. But it starts out with Nick, yes, a person in midlife who's opening to adventure. And he opens to adventure and he moves to Los Osos and he has adventures. He
I
meets,
I feel honored and I thank you for sharing that. I believe our audience would be so grateful for you opening up your uh, personal space to us by sharing to us about how this book came up through meditation and how this inspired you for creating this for yourself, and now you're sharing it with us, which is a glimpse to a new world of um, book because we get to know the author and how this came up. So two things that came into my mind while you're actually going through or while you were sharing that was I introduced the self as sort of survival and also trying to transformational. But as you shared to me your story, the book now is becoming inspirational and at the same time an eye opener because it inspires you. Readers will be inspired to get up there and live the best life and not just stay there and wait what will happen.
And
This
go
book,
for it.
yes.
Whatever it is, go for it. It's like don't retire before your body dies, you know? We still have a lot of life and a lot of magic available to us. And when we get that life is responding to us, now this is really magic. Life responds to us and life gives us guidance. So we have an option to choose partnership with life. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to work with life and see what happens. So if I choose partnership with life, I say, yes, the magic's coming, the doors are opening, I'm here, I'm showing up. I see what happens during the day. I see what someone says to me. What do I notice on television? What happens? What are the coincidences? What are the unlikely things that happen? And I start paying attention. Isn't that fun? Isn't that exciting? That's passion, isn't it? That's passion. That's alive. And that's what we want to, I think that's what we want to do. I think some of us get scared, but I think that's really what we want. That aliveness and that sense of who I am is more than just the person who did A, B, C, D in life. I'm a part of a much larger being that I didn't know until I could go so deeply inside myself. And the older we get, the more deeply inside we can go if we want. So it just gets better and better.
I love it because um, this book shows so much about, in a subtle way, it shows you or the reader the magic of mindfulness and being present. And I believe that's what the book is. And it doesn't tell you about what's mindfulness or what's being present. It allows you to immerse in the story of Nick and reflect into yourself. I love that. This is amazing.
It's just fun, isn't it? It's just
It
fun.
is.
But Nick, well, I'm a psychologist, so I'm writing fiction, but I'm a psychologist. So of course it has that overlay there.
Mhm.
So it starts with him as an individual and how he's personally pulled in some directions to do some things to move to Los Osos. But then there's something's going on here too, and something's going on here three, which carry him into a much larger sense of his own reality. You
Mhm.
know, who he is as an individual is more than just what he's done. It's consciousness, it's being, it's paying attention to the people he runs into who say, what about this? What about that? And he's called to be, I think we are all called to be heroes in our own lives. And being a hero is showing up, saying yes, and I'm scared, and saying yes, and embracing the passion, you know? And so choosing that, he confronts a lot of people he would never confront otherwise. And he's pulled into being a hero at a more at a larger level, more
Right.
than just his individual self, more than just his community of Los Osos, more than what he has known, more than the people he runs into. He ends up dealing with issues about wisdom, about presence, about being a hero. He's much more after the end of the three books. Something's going on here, 1, 2, and 3, than he was at the beginning. But this was nothing he anticipated or even understood.
Interesting. It's like, it's just life, really. It's
just life.
unfolding in front of your eyes and you don't know what's in there and you'll just have to that's what you said. You have to partner with life.
You partner with life. And at first it just seems, well, just a little detail, or even if it's moving, but it comes in, it comes to us in much larger terms the longer we do this. The grander our sense of who we, as an individual, who we may be. We're more than just who we have been. We're called to be more than we've ever been before. And it's passionate and it's exciting and it's magic and it's for all of us. If we want it, it's for all of us. So, like writing fiction, how did I get to write fiction? I mean, what's that about, you know? But what I'm writing, the fact of writing fiction and what I'm writing about are are examples of trusting life, working in partnership. And there's something about being in partnership with life that's just so thrilling because that doesn't end, you know? Life is always pulling us to be everything we can be. I don't know if people accept that or realize or believe that, but just partnering with life, just
Right.
saying, just showing up, we're pulled to be more than we have been before. And it's thrilling. It's thrilling. And it's available to us all.
This
That's
book
the
is
good.
this book is thrilling. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure our audience are excited to get a copy of this book. Now, I wanted to ask also, because it's 3 parts book, right? Across all 3 books, survival, truth, and redemption is some sort of a common themed. I would like to know, why do you think these themes resonate so strongly with your readers, especially in midlife?
I think these are basic human experiences, don't you? When we get beyond what we have to do and what we have done into I'm retired and I'm alive. I'm alive and I want to be alive and I want to be all I can be. And we say to life, yeah, I'm available. And there's magic in that surrender because life always responds. Life always says yes. And if we say, no, I'm not available, I just want to be comfortable and watch TV, life says, okay, you want to do that? Go for it, you know? But if we say to life, I'm available, life will say, okay, get on the bus and we're going. And we don't know where life is going to take us, you know? And isn't that fun? Isn't that fun to not really know, but to trust? And we have that experience. I got to that experience of trust through my meditations. I can't recommend meditation highly enough. It seems like some people respond to that. And some people have other forms of practicing stillness and of listening and of listening to their own wisdom. And so that's okay with me, you know, but just not being limited by what we've always known. We not only is life more than we've always thought it was, we are more than we've always thought we were, you know? And this is not an ego thing, and it's not anything to be proud of. It's just consciousness. It's like, who are we at our deepest, most wise, unpredictable, unknown level? We don't know, but we know in our passion that we have to say yes, that we want to show up and they want to go along for the adventure. Because it's one thing to end your life having been respectable. It's another thing ending your life and not having taken a chance. And I don't want to have regrets after I'm dead, you know, saying, I wish I had done this. I wish I had gone for it. I don't care if I'm penniless when I end my life. But if I didn't go for it, if I didn't trust, if I didn't surrender, if I didn't open to magic, will I feel bad after I am dead? And I'm talking to St. Peter and I said, geez, I missed an opportunity.
It's about missing that opportunity to be available with life. And this is not just about people who are in their midlife, I would say. There are a lot of working people. There are people who are in their 20s who are already allowing themselves to succumb into what is going on in the world right now and identifying themselves to what they have achieved without actually knowing that there is actually bigger than that. And that's actually the question of who I am really beyond all of these goals, beyond of these achievements. Because there are already a lot of young people nowadays in their 20s who are very, very successful, yet a lot also are wondering what their life's purpose. And I love this book because it's for everyone.
It's for everyone, isn't it? We can all do that. We can all open to life and say yes and see what happens. We can all do that. And it's so much fun.
I'm
And
excited. I'm excited about this because, sorry, I'm excited about this because you mentioned about the your availability to life. And
Mhm,
sometimes we limit ourselves to what life can offer to us.
that's right. We limit ourselves, and sometimes we don't know we're doing it, but sometimes we do. You know,
I
it's
love
those
it.
times when we hesitate. We hesitate. And I certainly understand hesitating. But when we hesitate, we say, I'm hesitating, I'm scared, I don't know what the next step is. And then we say, but I'm going to trust you, life. I'm going to trust my guidance. I'm going to trust I'm going to keep showing up, keep meditating, keep listening. I'm going to pay attention.
This is the reason why I love doing Explora books and talking to authors because every time I learn so much. And now I learn about being available, well, reminding myself to be available with life, reminding to chase whatever is there and just
Mhm.
live in the moment, be present, be mindful. And I
Mhm.
love this. For our audience out there, I'd like to ask Ruth, if someone only has the time to pick one book right now, which one would you recommend they begin with?
Of all of my books,
Yes.
Living in the Flow, Practicing Vibrational Alignment. Living in the Flow is partly my journal writings. I was at one point diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Um, I was terrified. I was terrified. I'm an introvert, so I didn't tell anybody for a few weeks and I lived with it myself, but I did my journal writing. I meditated, I was doing my journal writing, and I came to recognize that there were different parts of me, one part that's wise, one part that's terrified, one part that's in my head, da 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 da. And living in the flow is my journal writing and my explanation of the different parts of us, this subpersonalities, if you want to call them that. The controller, the child, the infant, the hero, and getting to know yourself better. So it's a good starting point. Living in the flow, practicing vibrational alignment.
Thank you. How about the book that we're talking about right now? Which part of these three books would you recommend to our audience to read at first?
At first, we'll start with the first book, Something's Going On Here, book one. Yeah, and that's how it all starts. It's a story and it seems pretty understandable. He makes some reasonable kind of choices, and then it gets more and more and more involved. So by the end of the book, it's no longer reasonable. It's no longer predictable. He's not who he thought he was, and life isn't what he thought he was. But you need to know that before you go to book two. So read them in order. So one and two and three, and each one grows, and his sense of who he is grows with each one of them, which is also how life is for us, huh? When we say yes.
The yes era, the yes time. I love it. I've been into that where I've chosen to say yes in everything, and I love it.
Yes.
And
And
it's yes, go ahead.
and don't you feel more alive for doing that?
I feel more I feel more powerful in a way that I get to know who I am. And then I get the chance to navigate when to say yes and when to say no. It's basically allowing me to know who I really am when I had those year when I have to say yes and everything. Even if it was scary, even if I was doubtful, even if I was um I was afraid, I was hesitating, I was questioning myself if I can do that. I said yes. And that made me realize my capacity and know myself better. So which is really amazing.
You're not as limited as your mind would have told you a few years
Right.
ago.
Exactly.
And that's what passion is. We don't know our limits. Maybe there aren't any limits. We'll see where life carries us. And you're doing that, and you feel more alive, don't you? Life
And
is magic.
and this book that you have created seems like an inspiration to everyone to just do it. Like you are also together with Nick, you are also trying to unfold what you can do for the world or for yourself, for life.
And and I think we all are. And that's working in partnership with life. Working in partnership with life, that's everything, isn't it? When life is your partner and life is saying, well, think about this. Am I going to say no? you know,
Yes.
that's the fun part. Life says, come this way. And all we have to do is show up. And it isn't necessarily a matter of physically moving across the country or taking any action or doing anything. It's a matter of consciousness. How much of ourselves are we willing to know inside our own heads? How much of ourselves are we willing to welcome? And who knows where that's going to lead?
Life will unfold it itself for you. And so you have written books and you also have completed this fiction trilogy.
Yes.
Specifically for this fiction and the way you shared with me about being fun and being playful about this book, I'm curious if do you have plans for future writing projects or new stories like this in the same theme?
I have a wonderful team who's working with me, and they certainly do have plans for things happening and for motion pictures coming out of the books. I can't do as much of the day-to-day work, but I'm 75. I'm not dead. So I am still living and seeing what comes and saying yes and
And you're
enjoying
just
what
like Nick.
and I get to meet you. Isn't that fun that I got to meet you today? I mean, this enhances my life and being here and having this opportunity. Yes, and we're all like Nick. I think we're all like Nick, aren't we? We're stumbling through, we're seeing what happens, we're opening our eyes, we're saying yes, or like you say, sometimes we say no. We get we learn to discriminate, but but we're alive and we're passionate. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Ruth. And also, everyone, something's going on here. This book, a trilogy, is available on Amazon, Barnes, and Noble. Ruth, please invite everyone to get a copy of your book.
Please get a copy of all my books. Please do. And then let me know what you think. Um, get in touch with Explora. They know how to get in touch with me, and I would like to hear from readers.
I love that. I love how you connect with your readers. Before we wrap things up, since you talk about Explora Talks, could you share what it's like working with the Explora Books team? I'd also love to hear about your overall experience collaborating with us here at Explora Books.
Explora has just been wonderful for me. I have been frustrated and disappointed and treated badly by a lot of people since I started writing. making promises to me that they didn't keep, asking for money and not coming through. And when I got to Explora, it's like there's somebody who's understanding what my books are about. These people are not only treating me decently, and they're honest, and they're hoping to make the world a better place. I mean, they get me, but they also treat me decently. So I can't say enough good about Explora. In addition, you have people working for you who are incredibly creative, and they're hardworking. They're responsible. They're honest. I can't say enough good about Explora. I would recommend Explora for anything, for support, creative support, for professional support. I don't know if you want people calling you for personal support, but you know how to refer them for that too. Explora has been wonderful to me, and I'm so grateful, and it seems like an answer to a prayer, because I was really having a hard time before I met the Explora team, and they have always come through, always come through. I've not only not been disappointed, the world has opened up more because of Explora. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the kind words. Well, here at Explora Books, we are committed to bringing this book and its story and your story to more people. So we're honored to do that for you and collaborate and work with you, especially with your inspiring story. But before that, one more question. Maybe there's already too much question for you, but just one more. If you could describe the entire trilogy in 3 words to hook new readers, what would they be?
3 words to hook new readers.
Yes, please.
This is for you. Can I have an extra word?
Sure.
You'll see yourself. It's a fun story. Something's going on here. See, something's going on here. That's true for all of us, isn't it? This is your story, your life, your excitement, your passion. It's like, find your passion. Those are my 3 words. Find your passion, huh?
I love that. This is so exciting. Find your passion. A lot of us are still lost in this fast-pacing world, and we forget about what's our true purpose, what's passionate, what we love. And I believe this book will lead us to that.
I hope so.
So much. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Ruth Cherry, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope to see you again on our next episode. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Ruth Cherry, the amazing author of Something's Going On Here. Make sure to grab your copy and see you in the next episode of another Explora Talks. This has been Mackie, your host for today. Until next time, goodbye.